She stood there, hand outstretched, her navy suit crisp and her demeanor unshakable. Amara Lewis was not a woman who demanded attention, yet her presence commanded it. A black woman with a PhD in economics, she'd spent years shaping industries. From the shadows' private meetings, confidential funding, silent influence that moved mountains. Her latest venture was no small feat, a $5 billion infrastructure project set to transform energy access across 3 states. She didn't seek board seats or headlines, she delivered results. That morning, she'd agreed to step out of her usual anonymity for an executive brunch to meet Rebecca Langston, the billionaire CEO whose construction firm was spearheading the deal. Amara extended her hand, polite and poised. What happened next wasn't just a snub, it was the moment that unraveled an empire. Rebecca, with her polished media charm and old money arrogance, glanced at Amara, sized her up, and turned away without a word. No handshake, no eye contact. Nothing. She moved on to the 2 white men beside her, laughing at their jokes, shaking their hands, acting as if Amara didn't exist. The room, filled with executives, froze in awkward silence. Some looked away, others exchanged glances, but no one spoke. Amara didn't flinch. She lowered her hand, nodded, and something shifted in her eyes, not anger, but calculation. Hey story lovers, welcome to MidnightTales. Drop your city in the comments below, so we can see how far this story travels. If this tale of power and respect hooks you, smash that like button and subscribe for more gripping stories every week. By that afternoon, whispers began to ripple through the boardroom. A junior lawyer noticed a clause in the contract. An investor could withdraw funding within 24 hours without penalty. Rebecca, basking in the glow of her visionary $5 billion initiative, paid no attention. She was too busy posing for interviews, her blonde hair catching the camera lights as she spun tales of her leadership, but the footage of the brunch was already leaking. A shaky phone video hit social media, and the internet erupted. Billionaire CEO snubs black executive in public. One post read, "Did she even know who she was ignoring?" The question hung in the air, unanswered. By sunrise, Amara had made her move. She didn't just pull her $2 billion commitment, she ensured everyone knew why. A crisp email landed in the board's inbox. Funding withdrawn due to executive misconduct and unacceptable treatment of key personnel. Phones buzzed, stocks dipped, and Rebecca's PR team scrambled to contain the fallout. Too late. Someone leaned across the boardroom table and whispered to Rebecca, "That woman you ignored. She was your silent backer." Rebecca's face drained of color. The room went silent as the financial officer read Amara's statement aloud. Effective. Immediately, funding terminated. Ms. Lewis has withdrawn her $2 billion commitment. Following parties are reviewing contractual exits. Rebecca's voice cracked as she stammered, "How was I supposed to know?" That was the point. She didn't know because she didn't care to. She'd seen a black woman in a suit and assumed she was nobody, not a funder, not a visionary, not the linchpin of her empire. Now, that empire was crumbling, and the world was watching. If you're loving this story, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps bring you more powerful tales like this one. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Rebecca tried damage control. She gave interviews, issued statements, even choked out a half-hearted apology on a morning talk show. But the investors had spoken, and their message was clear. Power doesn't always wear the face you expect. Amara, meanwhile, stayed silent. She declined every interview request, redirecting her capital to a rival firm with a track record of inclusion. The project eventually resumed without Rebecca, who was quietly ousted from her own company. Amara's message echoed in boardrooms. Across the country, silent power is still power, and respect isn't optional. It wasn't just about a handshake. It was about every time a woman like Amara had been overlooked, dismissed, or disrespected until she reminded the world she was the one signing the checks. Sometimes, the most powerful move is walking away. The story didn't end with Rebecca's fall. The internet kept the footage alive, dissecting every frame of the snub. Commentators called it a masterclass in arrogance, a case study in what happens when ego blinds you to reality. Amara's name began to surface, not because she sought it, but because people demanded to know who she was. A profile emerged, a woman who'd risen from a modest upbringing in Chicago, earned her doctorate through sheer grit, and built a reputation for transforming sectors with surgical precision. She'd funded startups that disrupted tech, backed green energy initiatives that reshaped markets, and now, she'd dismantled a $5 billion deal with a single email. Yet she remained an enigma, her influence woven into the fabric of industries without ever needing a spotlight. On Midnight Tales, we love stories like this, stories of quiet strength and seismic impact. Drop a comment with your city to let us know where you're watching from. Rebecca's downfall became a cautionary tale. Business schools analyzed it, op-eds dissected it, and social media turned it into a meme. Don't snub the silent backer. One viral post read, paired with a clip of Rebecca's dismissive glance. The construction firm scrambled to replace the funding, but the damage was done. Partners pulled out, citing instability in leadership. The stock plummeted 15% in a week. Rebecca's carefully curated image built on years of media appearances, and Charity Galis cracked under the weight of her own actions. She'd underestimated Amara, not because of any resume or title, but because she'd seen only skin and a suit. That assumption cost her everything. Amara, by contrast, moved on, with the same quiet precision that defined her career. Her next project was already underway, a $3 billion renewable energy initiative with a firm known for its diverse leadership. She didn't need to gloat or grandstand. Her actions spoke louder than any press release. The industry took note. Boardrooms began auditing their own practices, asking uncomfortable questions. Who else have we overlooked? Who's really holding the power? Amara's story wasn't just about one deal, it was a wake-up call. Power doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it stands quietly, hand extended, waiting to see if you'll notice. Hey, MidnightTales fam, if this story hit you as hard as it hit us, give it a like and share it with someone who needs to. Here at your support keeps our channel telling stories that matter. Comment your city below, let's see how far this one's reached. The ripple effects continued. The executive brunch, meant to be a forgettable networking event, became infamous. The footage was played on news channels, with pundits debating everything from corporate culture to systemic bias. Some defended Rebecca, arguing she couldn't have known Amara's role. Others pointed out that was precisely the problem, she hadn't bothered to find out. Amara's anonymity had been her shield, but it also exposed the truth. Too many assume power looks a certain way. Her withdrawal wasn't just about money, it was a statement. Respect isn't a courtesy, it's a requirement. The project's collab sent shockwaves through the industry. Other investors began scrutinizing their partners, demanding transparency and accountability. Firms rushed to diversify their boards, not out of goodwill, but out of fear. No one wanted to be the next Rebecca Langston. On MidnightTales, we're all about stories that spark change. Amara's story isn't just about a snub, it's about what happens when the overlooked strike back. It's about the power of those who work in the shadows, shaping the world without needing applause. If you're inspired, hit that subscribe button and join our community of story lovers. Let us know in the comments, what's a moment when you saw silent power in action? Amara's next moves were watched closely. She didn't slow down, channeling her resources into projects that aligned with her vision: sustainable energy, equitable access, and leaders who valued every voice. The firm she'd redirected her funding to thrived, completing the infrastructure project under new management. Rebecca, meanwhile, faded from the spotlight. Her attempts at a comeback, a podcast, a memoir fell flat. The world had moved on, and her name became a footnote in a story about someone else's power. The lesson lingered. In boardrooms, at conferences, even in casual office banter, people referenced the Amara effect. It wasn't just about race or gender though. Those were undeniable. It was about recognizing that power doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it stands quietly, waiting for you to see it. And when you don't, it walks away, taking everything with it. Amara Lewis didn't need to raise her voice. Her actions were deafening. Thanks for tuning in to MidnightTales. This story of Amara Lewis and the deal destroyed by disrespect is one we'll be talking about for years. If you loved it, smash that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more stories that hit hard and inspire. Drop your city in the comments, let's see how far this tale has traveled. Until next time, keep watching for the moments that change everything.